All right, let's get right into it. We are going to break down one of the most incredible, most audacious financial crimes in recent Thai history. Seriously, this is a story about a master plan, a huge network of people, and a heist that literally shook the country's stock market to its core.
Take a look at that number, 4, and a $500 baht. That's well over 120 million US dollars. And that staggering amount is at the center of a scheme that all went down in the blink of an eye, all before most people even had their morning coffee.
I mean, it sounds like something straight out of a Hollywood movie, right? But this was all too real. The people behind this figured out a way to weaponize the system against itself, using the market's own tools to pull off an impossible robbery.
So picture this. The moment the opening bell rings, the entire system gets flooded with a tidal wave of buy orders for just one company. More. The price tag? That 4.5 billion baht. This wasn't just some weird trade. No, this was a perfectly timed ambush, and it sent shockwaves through the financial world immediately.
But here's the thing. This wasn't some spontaneous, heat-of-the-moment crime. Nope. What happened on that November morning was actually the grand finale of a game that had been meticulously planned for almost 2 years. It all started with what they call a slow burn. For 2 whole years, they patiently, artificially pumped up the price of more stock. This made its market value explode, going from 2 billion all the way up to 20 billion baht. Once the asset was perfectly primed, bam, they launched the ambush, that insane buy order. And just 1 day later, the whole thing came crashing down. So here's the 4-step playbook for how they pulled it off. Step 1, you inflate a basically worthless asset. Step 2, you leverage it. You take that newly valuable stock to a bunch of different brokerages and get massive lines of credit. Step 3, you execute the heist. One of your guys places a gigantic buy order using all that credit, while your partners on the other side are all lined up, ready to sell. And finally, the brilliant, evil part, step 4, you just default. You walk away, you don't pay, and you leave the brokers holding the 4.5 billion baht bag. Now, the weapon they chose for this ambush was a totally standard tool called an ATO, or an at-the-open order. What an ATO does is guarantee your trade happens at the opening price, no matter what that price is. By flooding the market with these buy orders, the schemers created this huge, fake demand at a super high price. This made sure that their buddies on the sell side could cash out big time, instantly.
A plan this big and this complicated? Well, it takes more than just 1 or 2 people. As investigators started peeling back the layers, they found this incredibly sophisticated and organized network, where everybody had a very specific job to do.
And the number of people involved? Get this. The investigation has now identified a web of 42 suspects. We're not talking about a small crew. This was practically a small army, all working together to pull this thing off.
And this network had a really clear structure. At the very top, you had 2 alleged masterminds, the architects of the whole operation. Right below them, a core team of 7 supporters who made the big, coordinated trades happen. And then you have this massive base of 33 nominees. These were basically people who let their trading accounts be used to cover the tracks and hide who was really pulling the string.
Now, at the center of this whole web are some pretty interesting figures. The guy they say actually placed that massive fraudulent order was Apamuk Pingpong Bomrungwong. But the names that really made everyone's jaws drop were from the Phornprapha family, a very well-known high society family in Thailand. 3 of them, a socialite named Kim, his brother, and their mother, are accused of being right at the heart of this scheme.
The fallout from this heist was just immediate and devastating. It wasn't just about the money the brokers lost. This event sent a wave of absolute fear and chaos through the entire Thai stock market.
The local media came up with a perfect phrase for it. "การปล้น broker กลางแดด." That translates to a daylight robbery of the brokers. And, I mean, that just captures it perfectly, doesn't it? This wasn't some back alley deal. This was a public mugging of the financial system for everyone to see. The damage was just immense. That pumped-up stock price for MOR, it completely collapsed. More than 10 different brokerage firms were suddenly on the hook for that 4.5 billion baht. And so tragically, an estimated 6,000 regular, everyday investors got caught in the crossfire, many losing their life savings in a flash. But you know, the biggest loss of all? It was trust.
Of course, the authorities jumped on this, and fast. You had Thailand's SEC, that's their Securities and Exchange Commission, team up with the Department of Special Investigation and the Anti-Money Laundering Office. They launched this massive, all-hands-on-deck investigation to untangle the whole mess and hunt down the people responsible. But as you can imagine, actually bringing these people to justice has turned out to be just as complicated as the crime itself. The legal fight is happening on a couple of different fronts right now. And believe me, this story is far from over.
So it's important to know there are kind of two separate legal tracks going on. On the civil side, which is all about the money, the brokers actually scored a huge win. The court ordered that 4.5 billion baht in frozen assets has to be given back to them. But on the criminal side, well, that case is still very much in motion. The Attorney General has officially ordered the prosecution of all 42 suspects.
And just when you think things couldn't get crazier, we get a massive plot twist. Earlier this year, in 2024, the 3 accused members of that high-profile Phornprapha family, they just didn't show up for their court hearing. So the court immediately issued arrest warrants, and now reports are saying that some of the key suspects, maybe even one of the masterminds, have already fled the country. This has officially become an international manhunt. So, this leaves us with the big lingering question. Yeah, the regulators got the money back, and yeah, they're hunting down the criminals. But the damage to people's confidence is very, very real. Will catching and prosecuting everyone involved be enough to restore faith in the system? Or has the sheer audacity of this daylight robbery left a permanent scar, a constant reminder of just how fragile the market can be?